Hello class, teachers and receiving students. Thank you. You may be seated. We're still on the same strand, teachers, which is living things. Our substrand, ecology, relationship, and interactions. We're still also on the same strand, on the same outcome, 7.2.2. Before we go into our new topic for today, you went out in your last lesson and you were given a selected area for you to look at in your groups. Many of you found many interesting things. Some of you identify different types of organisms, insects, and maybe some animals. You also found out that in one small particular area there were many different plants. Now you were asked to do as homework in your groups to put that in, organize your information in a table. Show of hands if you have done that. Let's see if you have done it. Put your hands up if you have done. Put your information on a table. Straight up. 1, 2 groups so far. 2 groups so far. Okay, I hope you got your information there. Receiving students, if you have done better than the model class, very good. All right. Before we go, there were 2 questions that I also gave. What was question number 1? Who can remember question number 1? Question number 1. Who can remember question number 1? What did I ask for you to define or for you to find the meaning of? It was a word, the first word. Ruthie. Good, thank you, Ruthie.
What is community?
Listen.
What is community?
What is a community? Now we talk about science. So in science, what do we mean by community? All right, Ruthie, you asked the question. Can you answer that question for us, please? Or one of your friends would like to answer the question?
Living things living in an area.
All right, living things living in an area. Thank you for the answer. Anyone else? What is a community? Who else has an answer? Isaac. Thank you, Isaac.
Non-living things in an area.
That's a good answer. We have living things in an area and non-living things in an area. Any others? Okay, we'll have the final answer. Bagley.
Sharing a religion. Sharing a religion.
Sharing a region. Who's sharing the region? Sharing a religion. Okay. Oh, we are going towards our religion. Let's come back to science. Science. Thank you for that answer. That is a correct answer, but we look at science point of view. Okay, we have 2 answers. Living things living together and non-living things in an area. JJ. Okay, last one.
Living things and non-living things living in a particular area.
Okay, our final answer. Thank you, JJ, for the answer. Our final answer is living things and non-living things living in a particular area. Okay, all the answers are good. JJ's answer was the last one combining the two answers. So living things and non-living things living in a particular area. Let's see what I have written simply for you. Okay? Simply, a community is made up of living things in a habitat. The next question. Who can remember the next question that I also gave? Michaeline. If you can remember the question, please give us the question and your answer.
What is habitat?
Right. What is habitat? What do you think is habitat?
The place where an animal or plant lives. Organisms are adapted to the particular environment conditions within a habitat.
Okay, that's a very good answer and very, very precise, very long. That's a good answer. Any others would like to give us an answer? John.
Habitat is a place where plants, insects, and animals live.
Place where animals and insects live, and plants. Three things: plants, animals, and insects. All right, thank you for the answer, John. Any others who would like to give us the final answer? All right, then we'll have a look at mine. Your answers are correct. We'll have a look at mine. Mine, or what I have found is simple. Habitat is a place where plants, insects, and animals live. All right, good. That's a simple definition or simple meaning of what we have for habitat. But if you have books, you can find more detailed meaning of habitat. Okay, the last one I would like to ask you. Last question I would like to ask you. When we say population, what do we mean population? Cullen?
The number of people living in the area.
Number of people, good, the number. But this time we are talking about the number of what? Animals and plants. Okay, when we talk about the number of animals, population, we talk about the number of plants and animals in an area that we looked at. For example, that you visited yesterday. So when we say population, we talk about this one particular animal or one particular insect. So when we say population of an animal, an insect, example, we talk about a population of the insects that you have discovered, which is ants, population of ants, population of lizards, population of... now you're calling all the answers. Good. Very good. All right. Have a look at your data. I hope you have done the same thing for yourselves receiving students. Teachers, please check that they have their information. We shall move to our activity. There are pieces of papers which I have cut into sizes. Each of you will draw up you get one, pass the rest. Once you receive your, thank you, you make it. Okay, place your information in front of you. Our eyes in front. We'll go through quickly. Okay, look at your information. What do we see first? How many areas did we find yesterday? How many areas did we look at yesterday? How many areas did we look at when we went out to visit the sites? Isaac?
5 areas.
5. What did we look at? Okay, there were 5 areas we looked at. We looked at 5 areas, and what did we find in those 5 areas? We saw that there were living things. Living things. Non-living things. What else? Apart from that.
Type of plants.
Okay, we found living things. Okay, different living things, types of plants and types of animals. All right, so what are we going to do in a table? What do you think we'll do in a table? What's the first thing that we'll do? What's the first thing that we'll do? List. Let's fill up our table with the information that you've collected. Colin, if you have the mic in front of you, look around.
Type of community.
What was it again?
Type of community.
Type of?
Community.
Yes, we looked at community. Now we looked at the community. What did we find there, Colin? In those communities? Living things. You said living things and non-living things. So we saw plants, we saw animals. On our table, what information will we put first?
Plants and animals.
Good one. Plants and animals. For list down. Living. Oh, shot. Living things. Now, how many areas? Our first column is living things. Done. What do we look at next? Information in our table. What's the next information on our table? What do you put? I see only boys. Boys are brighter today. Girls. No girls? Oh, we have the first hand boys. Darren.
Non-living things.
Non-living things. Okay, non-living things. Let's have a look at this table only and we work on living things first. And then we'll look at non-living things later. All right. Ruthie.
Animals and plants.
Animals and plants here, we leave them here. All living things.
Population of living things.
Population of the living things. Okay. So, we look at population of the living things. Right? One thing we forgot, yes, population. Okay, population of living things. We will put it down. Before we put the number of population of living things, we look at what areas? 5 areas. So we must list the areas down. So we'll have 5 areas. 5 areas. What are they? First one, group 1 and 2. Group 1, what was the first area that you looked at? The drain. Okay, drain. What's the next group? What was your given area?
Grass lawn. Grassland.
Okay, the lawn, grass here, the lawn in front of the studio, grass, a small lawn there. Next one was the, okay, log and the flower garden. Running out of space. And the last one is all right. So here you list down all the living things. What did you find? Okay, grass, there were 3 different types of grass or 4 different types of grass in one place. Okay, let's do an example. Give me an example of your group.
Frog.
Frog. What kind of frog?
Brown frog.
A brown frog. A toad. Let's say brown frog. We said brown frog, so we say brown frog. Okay, where was that area? What area did you look at? You were looking at lawn area. So you have, how many frogs did you find?
Two frogs.
2 frogs. Were they big or small?
Small.
So you put 2 frogs. Okay. You list all the living things that you found. If you found there were 2 different types of grass, you put grass 1. And if it was on the lawn and there are 2 different types of grass, 2 different types of grass, and grass 1 you identified, if there were many in that area, you just write many. If you counted and you could not count them, you write many. Okay. So if you have a table similar to this or you have a different one, that is okay. But this is what you're going to do. Your activity 1, you will draw a column graph using the data that you have collected. So with the paper, you will draw the column graph. All clear? Do you know what a column graph is? Okay, good. In your maths lessons, you will know, you may have covered that. So column graph, you will use that information that you have collected. So use that chart to draw a column graph. Okay. You got yours organized there. That is okay. Now draw a column graph using this information in your books. Your book. Okay. Share this information now. Draw that on. You draw a column graph using that information. Yeah. Others, you can use that information and draw that in your exercise book. Where's your information? Where's it? Okay, good. Draw it on a column graph. Oh, you haven't put it on a table yet. Okay, one will have to do that. One will have to draw the column graph. Oh, you can draw the column graph. You're putting that in a table. Now, column graph now, both are drawing. Have you? No. See. Two groups have started drawing up the information in a column graph. Let's have a look at eyes in front. Let's have a look at our column graph. Some of you are not sure of what a column graph is. Okay, a column graph here. We are looking at the number of animals. So where do we put the number of animals? On this side. Okay. The number of animals on this side. So we start with what? 0. And are we listening? All right. Because we are looking at the number of animals here, this is how we will do our column graph. This is how we will do our column graph. Our base here starts with 0 because we always start with the 0. Look at the highest number of organisms that you have found. The highest number is, if your highest number of living thing is 10, example, 10, but most of our living things went beyond 10. So we just put 10 at the top. At the top there. And we divide equally. So there are 4 spaces which I will divide equally. So I put how many intervals? Eyes to the front. How many intervals? We have 2, 4, 6, 7. Huh? 8. Okay. Speak loud. We put 8. Now, on this side, what do we put here? Huh? Okay. Name of living things. Living things. Now, if you have identified, example, you identified there were 2 brown frogs. Or before we go into that, you must always give a title. So the area that you studied is, let's get an example from group 1, which is they studied the loan. The loan. The loan. Loan. Okay, they found that there were 2 frogs. So 2 frogs. So there were 2 frogs, they found 2 frogs. Here is frog. All right, that's an example there. You can do a better column graph. Good, some have already done that. They're almost complete. Now transfer your information in onto your column graph. So this is an example of what you did. Give a title, mark your scale, and list your living things, and draw up a column graph according to the population of the living things that you have found. Next one, but you have to differentiate it. Use a different color. You can just shade a stripe or circle or whatever. Try to differentiate your column graphs. All right, good. If you identify that there are more, then you if you know the names, then you can write their names and then all that. But if you find that if you don't know the name, you can write grass 1, grass 2. Okay. Or blade grass or creeper A and write 1, 2. Okay. If this was Johnson grass was more, then you write 15 plus more. Because we cannot count it. We cannot count such things as grass. Only types. Have you labeled what is this? Later. give you different markers. Grass, we cannot count grass. So you just, what's your highest? 5. Okay, you just write up there and you put more. Up there, write more. Yeah, just abrusa mark blue 5 now, writing more. So. Ants, unless you've identified 3 different ants, you must write the 3 different ants: the black ant, the red ant, and the Kurokums also. Huh? 3 different types of grass. Then read grass 1, grass 2, grass 3. There are 3 different types. And some of the population, some might be few, some might be more than, one might be more than the other. All right. I see we are still writing. We will continue that in our free time. But before you do that, you must make sure that you write your names on your chart. May I have your attention? Right, look up to the front. Virus down, pencils down, markers down, rulers down. And listening. Good, many of you are now drawing your bar graphs. Unfortunately, we cannot complete that. You will complete that in your own time. And when you finish, make sure you write your group names. All the members in your group, their names down. But before we end our lesson, we have a look at these 2 questions. All right, question 1 that we should look at it together, is which of the animals or insect that you saw, insect species, or which of the animals population was greater? Animal or insect that you saw in your area. Which of that was greater? Looking at your information on your table, which of that was greater? Quickly jot down the question or write down the question. That question will be written down and given to me with your chart tomorrow. Yes. You have different answers. So you will look at your different information and write it down. Question 2, write this one down quickly. If you identified that, question 2, activity number 3. Sorry, question 3. Second question of your activity is why are there many of these species? Okay, species meaning if you identified, if you saw that the frogs were many, too many frogs living in the grass, why were there many frogs living there? If you saw that there were many bees flying around on the area that you looked at, why were there so many bees? Or why were their population more than the other insects or animals? There are two pictures I would like to show you. Picture number 1. What's picture number 1? Picture number 1.
Bushfire.
Bushfire. Tell me about the bushfire. What happens in the bushfire?
Living things are destroyed by the fire.
Living things are destroyed by the fire. Very good. Thank you for that answer. Then, when an area is burnt, all living things are burnt also, or chased away. Next picture. What do you think it is? The picture is about. We have the same people. Can I have the different people? What is the picture about? Destroy. Yes, what is destroyed? What is destroyed?
Cutting down trees.
Cutting down trees. So when we cut down trees, what happens?
All the animals run away.
Very good. Thank you. So you see, sometimes, not sometimes, often, when we cut and burn, we also destroy the home of animals and insects, and they flee or they die. So, take care of where animals live, and if you have no flowers around your house, plant some flowers. Don't burn bushes at this time in Mosby. It's dry. Okay. Our summary. Plants and animals are important to us. With them, without them, we cannot live. Our next lesson is sea community. And materials that you will bring, if you have pictures of living things in the sea and samples of living things in the sea, you may bring along with you. All right. Our key phrase for today: plants and animals live together. So what is the most important thing when we look at a community? What do? They interact, so they living together. Remember, plants and animals, we live together. With that, thank you, receiving students, class, and also thank you, teachers, for your participation.